Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kate if you're new here. I have an exciting video today because I have been wanting to talk about this topic for a long time, and I finally feel like I have enough notes put together and I have things organized enough that I can talk about it, and I'm so excited. Last week I did a video on the decline of expensive luxury goods as we know them and the rise of quiet luxury, so if you haven't watched that I will link it below. But I had the mic in the video like this and nobody really seemed to mind it. I didn't really mind it. So I'm going to keep it in. I really hope it doesn't bother you, but the audio was nice. The audio was nice last time, so I'm hoping for the same thing this time. So fakes, replicas, counterfeit goods, all of that have been a part of the fashion market for a really, really long time. This is not a new topic. This is absolutely nothing new. A few things sparked me wanting to do this video, and one of them was this video that I watched from Vice. And they did a whole video on like the world of counterfeits. It was kind of a more counterfeits in general type of thing. So even though we're going to be focusing on luxury bags, like luxury goods in this video, that video talked about how counterfeits play a part in like every industry basically. So of course, like clothes, shoes, jewelry, we know that there are fakes of those, but they were talking about like fake chainsaws, fake car parts, fake toys, fake masks, fake medical stuff. Like there were so many fakes that they listed. They even talked about the Museum of Counterfeits. It's a really interesting video. I suggest you go watch it. I will link it down below. But that kind of opened my eyes to the fact that counterfeits are everywhere and that this is not just an isolated thing within the luxury community. But I do want to talk about it specifically on like the luxury side of things. That's where I feel like I have the strongest opinions because I don't have as much information on everything else. Other thing that inspired this video, so there have been pages that expose people wearing fake bags, expose people wearing fake watches. That part's not new. But there is one recently that grew so fast on Instagram, and that is the Fake Birkin Slayer. So if you haven't heard of the Fake Birkin Slayer, I will put their page up here. They are anonymous. There's been a lot of speculation on who the Fake Birkin Slayer is, and most people have been saying that it is a team of people, not just one person. But basically what they do, and it's mostly for accounts with a lot of followers that are showing off fake bags or trying to pass them off as real bags, they will post them and they will expose them. I just find that the way that that Instagram page grew so fast to over 100,000 followers is so interesting to me because I didn't realize that people cared so much about other people wearing fakes. You know, I didn't realize that that was such a big deal, I guess. So that kind of opened my eyes there too and sparked me wanting to make this video. Now within that, the Fake Birkin Slayer posted another video of a TED Talk. And it basically, I'm going to link it below because I don't want to list everything that it talks about because I don't want to get demonetized, but basically it talks about how buying fake designer goods funds a lot of different types of crime. But I would recommend watching it since I'm not going to go into too much depth on that in this video. I will put that in the description. So I'm going to cover 3 topics today. The first one is going to be cost and quality. The second one is going to be responsibility. And the third one is going to be designer dupes. After we cover those, I'm going to talk about my personal opinion. So first of all, cost and quality. Now, we all know that Chanel recently had a huge price increase. I believe some of their items increased about 17%, was like the higher end of things. And now a classic flap is going to cost you like 10 grand. Tons of YouTubers have been doing videos about this. I am not going to go that into depth on it because that's not really what this video is about, but their prices are crazy now. We also know that the quality there has declined. And then on the other side, you have Hermes, where their quality is really, really good. But to get a bag from them is hard, first of all, to get it from the store, or it's very, very expensive. It's expensive when you get it from the store, but it's very, very expensive to get it pre-owned. If you buy one that's like newish, comes with the box, everything, you're gonna probably spend like a good 25 grand for like a Birkin 30, and that's a ton of money to spend on a bag just to say that the reason that you bought it is quality. And then you look at the other side of things. So a lot of people that I've seen have been purchasing their fakes, their replicas through DHgate. And over there, if you look at like the Chanel classic flaps or the Chanel classic flaps, a lot of times they won't like show the logo on there. So that's why this one doesn't have a logo. But when you get the bag, it does have a logo on it. I think it's just to avoid getting in trouble. You're looking around like $90 to $100. And then the same thing goes for the Birkin. You can get one for $100. Of course, they go up from there depending on how good of a fake you want. But yeah, you can get them starting at like $90 to $100 for a fake that probably looks pretty decent, I guess. There are definitely other sellers outside of DHgate that are talked about on our rep ladies on Reddit. I've seen that they share a lot of places that they get their replicas from, or a lot of specific sellers that they get them from. And I've also seen like really, really high-end replicas that are replicas of like crocodile Birkins, and it's real crocodile being used. So you can either pay like in the hundreds of dollar range for like a regular on DHgate, or you can get into these like really sophisticated, I guess, higher end replicas that are going to cost you thousands. So since there is such a big range, we can assume that some of these are going to be terrible quality, and then other ones are probably going to be really, really good quality, maybe even better than Chanel. Now, when it comes to quality, of course, I feel like we all like to say that we really like high quality items, especially those of us that are in the luxury community that are really into luxury bags. I know that I care a lot about quality. That's why I tend to really love Hermes bags. I really thought about this one because if you're following a trend and the reason that you're buying a bag is for a trend, why do you need it to be such good quality? Wait, I think I'm gonna add a little bit more light. I feel like I don't have enough light in here. Like, hold on, just give me a second. Now, I really thought about this because with things that are super trendy, if you're looking to buy a fake version of that, why do you really need it to be good quality? You're following a trend, you know that you're only going to use it for so long, and then you're just not going to use it anymore likely. So why does it matter if it would last like 6 months or if it would last like 30 years? It doesn't really matter in that case if that's all that you're looking for. So to be honest, I think that quality plays less of a factor in this than people make it out to be. Like people are like, oh, like the replicas are bad quality, but the real ones are good quality. Well, we've seen that that's not really always the case. So I don't think that this is a matter of quality. So you have your fake bags. And then like I said, there are some fakes out there that are really, really high quality that people spend thousands of dollars on. And these are going to be your super fakes. So I used to think that I could probably pretty easily tell a super fake from a real bag. And I thought that for a long time. I've been shopping pre-loved bags online for like 9 years. I've seen a lot of things in those 9 years. And I feel like if you gave me 2 bags and I had to pick out which one was a super fake, I feel like it'd be easy every time. And then Fashionphile started doing these videos. So they started doing these videos about like showing a fake bag, showing a real bag, but instead of just a regular fake, it's a super fake, and like comparing them to each other. And it's mind blowing how close these things are. If you don't know exactly what you're looking for on this specific seasonal Chanel bag and you need to figure out if it's real or not, you're gonna have a really hard time. I know that there are bad fakes, and like I feel like easily I could tell that from the leather, I could tell it by looking at it, but some of these are insane. And I literally thought that I could always tell the difference until Fashionphile started doing that series. That also feels like it's a little more dangerous out there now to shop pre-loved. And so I don't know if people are feeling like, okay, well, if I buy a fake, I know that it's fake. If I buy pre-loved, like what if it's fake and I don't even know and I spent a bunch of money on it? Also, that's part of why I trust Fashionphile. This is not like sponsored or an ad or anything, but I really do trust them. I've been shopping with them the longest. One of my first pre-loved designer bags was from them, and that was a long time ago. But I really do trust them when it comes to authenticity. That's the place that I trust the most. So yeah, I can totally see where consumers are seeing the benefit in buying something that costs a lot less. And even if the quality is worse, like, does it really matter? If it still costs a lot less, but they still spent a good amount of money on it, the quality is probably pretty good, to be honest. So like I said, I kind of get where they're coming from. And that leads me to the next thing that I want to talk about, which is responsibility. Who's wrong in this situation, basically? Who's to blame here? Is it the individuals who are purchasing the goods? Is it the manufacturers, the businesses who are distributing those goods and selling them knowing that they're fake? There's a whole DHgate side of TikTok and YouTube that is just like all DHgate hauls, like which sellers to buy from. And at first I didn't have much of a problem with it because it was on a smaller scale. Like I would see somebody unbox one fake Chanel bag from DHgate. And that was it. And then they would like a couple months later maybe unbox another one. Like it looked like normal consumption of goods, just the fake versions. But now I'm seeing some really huge DHgate hauls, and it's concerning. I've seen people talk about they're spending thousands of dollars on DHgate, and that's like they're catching title to their video. And how is this any different than buying something from fast fashion, something that's from Shein, and being wasteful in that way? Like if you're buying all of these items, I know that people say this all the time, but like you could have just, instead of buying 10 fake bags, you could have bought the real one at this point. And also I can see how people are like, but now I have 10 bags instead of 1. So I get that side of it too, but you have 10 bags that have no resale value. You can't resell them, and it would be illegal to resell them. So that's the problem. It's like if you bought the 1 bag, you might lose a little bit of money reselling it again, or you might make a little bit of money depending on how long you keep it and how the value of that bag changes, especially if it's a classic. And I think that that's the part that people don't really point out when they talk about the 10 bags versus 1 bag situation. Like, 10 bags that are worth $0 versus one bag that's worth about what you paid for it, there's a difference there. And for that reason, these huge DHgate hauls are just wasteful. It's wasteful. It's hard to watch because I'm seeing people just like throwing their money away on fake goods and everybody's celebrating it in the comments. And it's like, okay, if you want to buy one item, I really don't have a problem with that. Like, you want to buy a couple items, cool. But like, now you're just like flexing that you've spent like $5,000 on DHgate for what? And like I said, don't try to resell them, because that, you can't do that. You're not supposed to do that. Like, we know that Birkin Trash got in trouble, right? I actually really like Birkin Trash's videos, but that did throw me off a little bit. So then I come to the point of, okay, so you bought a fake bag. If you don't care about judgment, and if you're not in the public eye where like a lot of people are going to be seeing your bag on Instagram, on TikTok, and calling you out for it, or if you're just not afraid to get called out for it, if you're like, oh, post me, I dare you. I don't know. If you feel that way and you're just not worried about the judgment whatsoever, like, okay, then what's the point of buying a real bag over a fake bag? 99% of the people that you see on the daily basis, if you're just outside walking around, are never going to know that you have a fake. The problem with that is, of course, the TED Talk, like I talked about, that these can be funding crimes. You don't know where that money is going. But on the other side of that, I refuse to believe that these designer brands are angels themselves. There's been controversy about where Hermes gets their exotics. There's been controversy about how some of these places treat their employees or treat their manufacturing workers. Now, it's unlikely that it's nearly as bad as anything that the fakes may be funding, but it's also not good. There's also this app that I've been using lately. It's called Good On You. And this is also not sponsored or anything, but this app, I've been searching like every brand that I buy from just to see where they are as far as sustainability goes. I feel like this app is like pretty harsh on these brands. So I think that if they say that something is good, something's probably pretty good. But I've been looking up a lot of designer brands on there, and a lot of them have terrible ratings for sustainability. So it kind of seems like both on the sustainability standpoint are bad, but I do think that like the designer bags are not nearly as bad, obviously, especially because people are more likely to resell them and not just throw them away. You might say, but I love the history of the brand. That's why I purchase from the brand directly. I love the history of the brand. Well, these brands, their history is not squeaky clean. And I think that that's a topic for another video, because I am totally willing to make that video and call out some of these designer brands and their history, because every time I hear somebody say like, oh, but I buy from them from the history, and it's like, I have very strong opinions about brand history. And I will get into that in another video because it kind of makes me angry and I want to talk about it. Now, all of that is the consumer side and why they choose to buy versus why they choose not to buy. The other side of that is the counterfeiter side, the people who are actually manufacturing and distributing these goods. They are literally doing something that is very illegal. Like, you're taking away someone else's business who has built their legitimate brand, and you're just kind of scamming people. So even if you know that you're selling them a fake bag and they know that you're selling them a fake bag, like, it's still not okay. Now I want to talk about dupes. I also really want to hear how you feel about dupes, because this is actually a topic that I'm a little bit divided on. Here's the reason. So I think that there's a difference when it comes to buying dupes from contemporary designer brands versus dupes from like Shein or like H&M or Forever 21 or something like that, a bag that looks like another company's bag but is not branded that way. And I think that the reason that there's a difference is because one of them is going to be fast fashion and then the other one is like more of a contemporary designer. And the example I want to use is the Tory Burch. Oh, I forgot what the bag is called. I'll put it on the screen. The Tory Burch bag that resembles the Hermes Constance. I actually really like the Tory Burch version of this bag, and Tory Burch is a name brand. They tend to have pretty good quality, and I think that a bag from Tory Burch is a lot less likely to end up in like a landfill than one that you purchased from Forever 21 or from Shein. So I think that that's better in a way. Also, it's not trying to look like the other bag, or it's not trying to be the other bag, I guess, if that makes sense. It does look like it. But the Tory Burch one has the Tory Burch logo. It's not mistakable whatsoever for the Hermes Constance, even to the untrained eye. And to be honest, I don't really have a problem with that. Right now, Ferragamo has a bag that I think looks a lot like the Mini Kelly. But also, like, if I am buying this instead of the Mini Kelly, first of all, I can't afford a Mini Kelly. They're like 30 grand right now. Like, I'm not buying a Mini Kelly, so I can afford a Ferragamo bag. And I don't really see the problem in that, because you're not buying something that is trying to pass as the Mini Kelly. You're buying something that is a Ferragamo bag that's just a similar shape. The shape is really the only thing that it has in common. To be honest, I don't have a problem with that at all. But to be clear, I do have a problem with Shein altogether. And yeah, that's once again another topic that would make me angry. So in my personal opinion, I'm not a fan of fakes, but I also refuse to put all of the blame on the consumer. Like, yes, by purchasing goods, you're creating a market for goods, But also, it's not really the consumer's fault. Like, these counterfeiters shouldn't be running an illegal business in the first place. So isn't that the problem? Like, shouldn't isn't that who we should blame? And yes, you can do your part by not purchasing these goods and not supporting these businesses, but at the end of the day, it's on them for making these, and they shouldn't be doing that. And as an individual consumer, you can stop buying them, but that's not going to stop them from making them for everybody else. So it's really hard to make one single personal decision and then have the bad thing stop. This is something that would need to come from like a regulation standpoint where it's like it's obviously illegal, but maybe like cracking down on it, or maybe like I don't know, like taking down some of these companies, and that would probably be really hard too because counterfeits are a huge, huge business. So in the conclusion of this video, what is the best thing that you can do if you want to get designer goods? Personally, I think the best thing to do is to buy pre-loved from a reputable seller, and not just because the bags are real, but because they have resale value. You're preserving some of the money that you put into that bag. And I don't like to think of bags as typical investments. I think investment is the wrong word to use because people are like, oh, like you're investing in your wardrobe, you're investing in blah, blah, blah. But I think it gets confused too often as you're looking to make money off of this object. And I don't think that that's the case here. So I would say that you're purchasing something wisely that you're going to use consistently and that still has value left in it when you go to sell it. Or if you decide to keep it, it's something that is made well enough to pass down. I think that if you have that goal in mind in general when you are searching for luxury bags, I think that you're good there. Even if you buy something that's brand new from the store, I don't think that that's necessarily bad, especially if you're going to keep it for a long time. I totally think that there's a difference between buying things that are really nice and really high quality versus buying things from Shein and fast fashion and just throwing them away after you're done with them. There's a total difference there. So I think that as long as you're buying with at least some sustainability in mind, that is a thing to do as a responsible consumer. So basically, in conclusion, don't buy fakes, they're bad. That is all I have. I would love to hear your opinions in the comments. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about dupes? If you agree, disagree, I'm happy to hear your opinions. I love hearing other people's opinions. So if you disagree with me, feel free to let me know in the comments, as long as it's respectful, because if it's mean, I'll cry. But yeah, if you just disagree with me, that's totally fine. Just yeah, let me know how you feel in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you like this type of video, please give it a thumbs up so that I know to make more of them. And if you want to subscribe and see more videos like this, please do. I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys.